Yeah, in Delray Beach, I have like a close to 5-acre farm, all mangoes, and I grow, well over 100 varieties, and definitely have gotten some favorites over the years, and so this is what that's all about. So let's see if I can. There we go. Yay. Yeah, I was born and raised in South Florida, so I didn't really come by mangoes naturally because my parents were from Wisconsin, and they don't grow a lot up there. I did have a neighbor that had a mango tree, and so got a little introduction young, while I was rather young. But what really got me going was Richard Wilson had a grafting workshop. He was the proprietor of Excalibur, there we go. So he had a grafting workshop. I started grafting and went down that slippery slope. So I have developed some of my own varieties, and then there's a ton of varieties that are ones other people have developed. One of the ones that Gary just mentioned in passing, but one of my favorites of his is the Pineapple Pleasure. That one is got a special place in my heart, but there's plenty of space for lots of other varieties. Some things to think about when you're trying to figure out is this really a good mango? Taste and texture, of course, very good. The whole tendency in at least this country is to get fiberless fruit, and you would have your own taste preferences. Possibly some of you would prefer Southeast Asian varieties and some Indian type varieties, and then of course there's sort of combinations of those varieties, and just endless sort of spectrum of types of mangoes to sample, and it's not only do you want to evaluate on the basis of taste and texture, but productivity, because if you have a 20-foot tall mango tree and it makes 3 fruit, it's not a good return on invested time and energy. And nice productivity, reliable disease resistance. There's some varieties that are more susceptible, for instance, to anthracnose and powdery mildew and such. And so for some, one of the main determinants of how much you get affected in a growth, where a lot of varieties is weather, and so you can't really control that, but you can try to plant varieties that are more resistant to that. Then of course, if you have small space, you don't really want to have one huge mango tree. It's good to have a lot of smaller mango trees, and that can be accomplished through variety selection. Of course, the smallest variety is the Julie mango, and if you really like Julie, that's wonderful. I grow Julie, and just about everybody who has more than 10 varieties probably grows that, because it's just a very nice mango. But there are, and of course the tree stays very small. I actually grow several Julie trees that I grafted very high on rootstock, and I actually like that even better than growing it on with a traditional graft, because it sort of makes a very classic looking tree. It has sort of a round canopy, and it's lifted off the ground, so you don't have to worry about branches dragging or that kind of thing. I don't have a picture of that, but you can sort of picture it, I guess. As I mentioned already, the disease resistance thing. There's anthracnose is one of the ones that really hits some mango varieties. To some degree, you can avoid that because of through selection of varieties, but you can't really control the weather, and the weather's a factor. So, extremely productive and damage resistant. I'd say after it gets picked, it's got some fiber in it, and so it holds up a little better to the handle. I grew up in North Beach, which is a little bit south of here, and some of the old-time people in North Beach actually grew Hayden and the boys, the four boys in the family. They harvested this fruit every year, and they would sell it for, and this was back in probably the 1930s. They harvested it and sold it for $1 a piece, which was crazy money back then. And they collected all their money from this. Most of the fruit was sent on trains to the north, like New York City, and they had to turn over all of their proceeds. Good, and that was a Zill family variety, and it still is among the tops as far as I'm concerned. Very complex flavor, rich, and named after the matriarch there, Zill family. Now Page. Page is less well known. It's a rather large mango, and I believe it's from the west coast of Florida. It is fibrous, and if you're a big mango and you don't have a real strong connection to the tree, that's a bad combination because when they fall, they do bruise. But once you learn at what stage to pick it, then it's not a problem. You just have to pick them before they fall on the ground. It's a strategy. It's a very nice mango, completely fiberless, and it's just a nice flavor. And so even though it's not very widely grown, it's very nice. Ice cream mango. This is one of Maurice Kong. I don't know if you're familiar with Maurice Kong at all, but he definitely has done a lot for the Florida mango varieties, or the varieties available in Florida, I should say. He was the person who first discovered the mango varieties in Burma and brought them over to the U.S. And as I recall, the first shipment of Scions, I think it was just Scions, was held up in inspection, and they all basically rotted. And so, he had spent the time and money to go over to Southeast Asia, and then he had nothing to show for it. And so what he did was go over again. And so he came the second time was the charm, and so we have a lot of nice varieties from that area of the world because of him. And just one of the, of course, ice cream is not from Southeast Asia. That is from Trinidad, and that's an excellent variety. But I just wanted to mention that Maurice was sort of the local hero even before bringing the ice cream over. And here we go. Here's Maurice again. So Myanmar, he brought over some really nice varieties from that, and that's how we get the citrus flavor ones. Gary has already sort of gone over that. So, but one of the varieties mentioned here that is one of my favorites also is the Mandalay. Mandalay's just got a really nice flavor all of its own, and it's basically everything that you brought over is very good. Mandalay, I like that. Ryan is another variety from Florida. It was it occurred first at Frank Smathers' place. Frank Smathers was a rich guy, and he owned a very large piece of property that was very close to Key Biscayne. And he had 4 daughters, and he planted mangoes. He had Crafton Cliff was in charge of, who's a big name of mango, was in charge of sort of running the grove and such. And finally, they had a tree that produced a fruit that was exceptional, and what Frank Smathers did was named it after his only grandson, because one of his daughters had a son, and named Brian. And so that's sort of the history of how that came about. Large fruit, fiberless, very nice. Tess Pollock is a very local one for me. The Pollock family lived like a mile away from me, and Tess Pollock was the matriarch. The variety itself is like a cross between cherry and turpentine, most likely, and so it has very similar heritage to the dwarf Hawaiian. It's not as well known, the fruit's bigger, and the dwarf Hawaiian is one variety that occurred at Truly Tropical. It's classic mango flavor. It has varied from time to from year to year. Oh, I've got the 5 minutes. Okay, we're in the home stretch. Anyway, the Carpathian classic mango flavor. Some years it has like a lemon flavor with it, but nice variety. And Monty has been a section on varieties that occurred at Truly Tropical. Monty has been a real favorite. It's unfortunately the season ended like a week ago, so I was not able to bring any fruit of Monty in. But yeah, a lot of our customers, that is their favorite variety now. It originally it was on a mound, and so it's what we used to refer to as the mound mango, which doesn't have really a name. We switched to Monty because of the hill nature of that variety, where the variety was. Lemon ash is a really nice variety that also occurred in our place. It is later, the season overlaps a little bit with lemon zest, the tail end of lemon zest. Lemon ash is usually starting to fruit, and it doesn't have any disease problems that we've noticed at Truly Tropical. Very fibrous and very nice lemon flavor. Okay, Kaylee K. So the little picture there in the middle, that is my daughter Kaylee when she was quite young. She's in the back of the room now, and she's grown up quite a bit. So anyway, we had this fun fruit several years ago, very sweet and fibrous, and the shape is more like the palm of your hand, very flat fruit. And so we thought, since it was fun and Kaylee was a fun gal, that we would name it Kaylee. So that's the scoop on that variety. Marco was named after my brother. It's somewhat similar to cotton candy mango. It's got some peach flavors in it. And one of the things that's amazing about it is that it seems to be squirrel resistant. We have a lot of mango trees planted along the fence, and the squirrels are quite, like connoisseurs of mangoes. And so they, go and take a little nibble because they can't eat the whole thing. Of course, that would be, like just too much for them. And this tree is right along the fence, and we don't get squirrel damage. So I think the skin is preventing the scent of the fruit to get out or something. But whatever, it's very productive, very popular fruit. And it has a long hang to it. So lots of good things about that. And then we have some varieties coming soon, hopefully. There are ones that we have not yet produced plants of, and have at least one tree of. And the Tangerine Dream used to be known as Hanshin, and that is one of our most popular of the new varieties. And then, I'm not sure if any of you saw this, but there is one that we refer to as the steak mango. Did a video on it because I was looking through our potted plants, which they have in-ground plants that sort of grow in that same area, and I saw this rather large mango just sitting on top of a steak, that was for a mango tree in a pot. And so anyway, it was rather good. It was over 2 pounds also, and so anyway, we started calling it steak, and then I tried to refer to it as something else, and they were like, no, it's, the customers started saying, no, it's steak mango, that's what we know it as. So that's a scoop on that one. let's see what we have here. Oops, I probably went. Am I over? I might be. I think Dan is out. So anyway, hopefully we can answer some questions before we get totally kicked out. Oh, Dan?